Season 39, War number 2, and we are up against the Legion. This time my team will be Valkyrie, Pryde and Omega Sentinel. Unfortunately Tiger was banned, but that opened up a spot for Valkyrie on my team. I will be taking Path 5 in Section 1 as well as that Mr. Negative, Human Torch on the Root node, Path 5 in Section 2 as well as that Pryde and America Chavez, and finally King Groot as well as Joe Fixit mini-bosses. Up first we have a Mephisto on the Ebb and Flow knockdown and right back at it nodes, and I'm taking this fight with Pryde. The game plan here is to build up my prowess as much as possible before reaching my special 2. Then I'm gonna be knocking him down with a heavy attack to remove the protection, nuking him down with a single special 2, and although it cannot finish him off because of his regeneration phase when he hits 30% or lower, it should be enough damage to take him down very low, and then with mutant power boosts I should be able to gain some power back, enough to maybe finish the fight off straight after. I don't even need to build up full 20 prowess here because of the Incinerate aura on Mephisto, giving me so much more prowess potency without me having to do really anything. At this point all I need to do is just knock him down once to remove the protection, and then just drop that special 3 and it will finish him off basically no matter what. Even here I have only 3 prowess when I throw the special 3, and even then it's a lot of overkill. With the maximum prowess potency on Pryde, her specials hit very hard. Next up we have a Havok on the Ebb and Flow knockdown and heavy hitter nodes, and I'm taking this fight with Omega Sentinel. I'm not using any pre-fights here to start in a different debuff mode, because I will be dropping heavy attacks, and those cycle Omega Sentinel through her debuff modes anyways, so starting with a specific debuff here doesn't really make a difference. Against Havok you don't need any of them, so there really isn't any need to rely on those at all. For damage, well, since I will be knocking him down whenever I can to remove the Ebb and Flow protection, I don't really need to do anything else, since Omega Sentinel hits very hard with her basic attacks alone. But I will go for a special 2 here, just to speed things up. I only had one non-damaging debuff on Havok when I threw the special 2, but because he had 5 of his own personal prowess effects, the special 2 inflicted 5 extra plasma debuffs. And that was a lot of extra damage there. It did cost me some HP from recoil, but that is perfectly fine. I don't mind using a potion here and there. But even then I'm gonna try to finish the fight here without using another special, because I'd rather use smaller potions if I have to use some. So I land a parry, go for a heavy to remove the protection, and then a single medium attack is enough to take him down for the rest of the way. So yeah, I'd say Omega Sentinel is a very good option against Havocs, as long as you don't eat the heavy attack like I did last war. And then we have a Mr. Negative on the Ebb and Flow knockdown and right back at it nodes, and I'm taking this fight with Pryde. I make a pretty silly mistake here at the start because I forgot how the attacker tactic actually works, and I didn't even consider it. So when Mr. Negative throws his special 1 when he has at least 1 light energy, he inflicts a delirium debuff that reverses your controls. So usually when I try to exit I dash forward, but since the cleanse charges shrug off all, or one of each debuffs you have, it also cleansed the delirium debuff itself, meaning my controls were not reversed. So instead of trying to exit by dashing forward, I dashed forward and straight up ate the special 1. Luckily he didn't have time to stack up any prowesses before that, or it could have been bad. But after that I got back in track, realized my mistake, and then just was able to nuke him down with a single special too. I really should have realized the interaction before going in, but at least it didn't cost a death, and that is a mistake that I definitely won't do a second time. Then we have a Human Torch on the Scared Stiff node, and I'm taking this fight with Pryde, and I do have the White Magneto pre-fight active here as well. The main use for the pre-fight is for me to be able to ramp up my prowesses at the start of the fight, while I still have the Poison debuff active from Recall Masteries. The debuff causes my attacks to glance, so at the start I couldn't rely on being able to ramp up any prowess until I got rid of the debuff. Now at this point, Human Torch can't really do anything to me. Even the Root node does nothing, because the Root is a debuff. And since it's a debuff, it can get cleansed by the cleanse charges from the attacker tactic. And using an attacker tactic champion here basically shuts down the node completely, and it makes it extremely easy. If you have the option to use someone with the attacker tactic on basically any defender you can think of for this node, you should definitely do that, because Root is a very annoying mechanic otherwise. And yeah, Torch goes down in 2 special 2s. Next up we have a Pryde on the Power Snack and One Too Many Hits nodes, and I'm taking this fight with Omega Sentinel. I'm not using any pre-fights here to start the fight in the Cowardice debuff mode, because Cowardice is all you need for Kitty. If Pryde gets a Cowardice effect, whether it's a debuff or a passive, she loses all of her personal prowess, and it also prevents her from gaining any more for as long as the effect lasts. And without any prowess, Pryde is a pretty useless defender. And as far as the nodes go, the Power Snack basically doesn't exist, because Omega Sentinel is immune to Nullify, and the One Too Many Hits node, it doesn't do anything, because I won't be using any specials in this fight. Pryde has a very small health pool, and Omega Sentinel hits very hard with her basic attacks, so this fight goes down in under 50 seconds without using any specials or doing anything special. Omega Sentinel really is one of the best, if not the best, counter for Prydes. Then we have a Longshot on the Ebb and Flow Intercept node, and I'm taking this fight with Omega Sentinel. I'm not using any pre-fights because the debuff I use here doesn't really make a difference, and as far as the fight goes, the game plan is to just take him down with basic attacks. I will go for intercepts whenever I get the opportunity to do so, just so I can remove the protection to make the fight go faster. It's not needed, but I'd rather get out of these fights as fast as I possibly can. I did get clipped here trying to go for a light intercept, but with Omega Sentinel's armor up buffs, she took barely any damage there. The only real risk of death in this fight is if I were to push Longshot to his special 3. The special 1, well, I'm not quite sure if it still deals damage to Omega Sentinel, because she isn't supposed to take any bleed damage, but I also haven't tested it, so I can't confirm that. And then as far as the special 2 goes, Omega Sentinel is immune to Fate Seal as well, so you will get that small incinerate debuff on you, which will do some damage to you, but you will not get any of those big passive incinerates. So there really isn't any risk in baiting the special 2s either. The special 3, however, has a very long stun debuff on it, and while you may survive the special 3 itself with all of Omega Sentinel's armor rating, it has a very long stun debuff afterwards, which will allow Longshot to combo you. Though now thinking about it, Omega Sentinel's safety net with her auto block might be able to save you from that, but I have not tried it, and I don't suggest trying it in war either. So Longshot went down without any real issues this time, and yeah, Omega Sentinel is just a beast. Next up we have a Nova on the Ebb and Flow Intercept and Mighty Charge node, and I'm taking this fight with Pryde. Now, I was debating whether or not I should take this fight with Valkyrie instead of Kitty, but since I still have the Recall Masteries active, I decided that I would go in with Pryde. That may or may not have been a mistake, because I do mess this fight up pretty bad. There I messed up a dex on the special one and got hit pretty hard. Pryde's health pool is not... well, it's not big enough for me to feel comfortable eating hits with her. The game plan here is to just keep taking him down with basic attacks, hoping to land those intercepts as often as possible to keep the protection down, but with his auto block it's not that simple. Since I don't have the Tigra synergy, I won't have the unblockable to get past the auto block, so it really does mess things up a bit. Now, I didn't really have a concrete game plan going in. I was basically just trying to take the fight down with basic attacks, but with Nova being as annoying as he was here, I might have been better off trying to throw some big specials instead. But if I do have to fight again later this season, I'm probably gonna be using someone else. I really wanted to use a special 3 here while the protection was down to finish the fight, but I did not want to risk Nova getting to his special 3. I could have tried to use the Kitty cycle there, but I swear that it's not a great idea, and it really isn't. It's way too risky to use. So instead I just waited the special 2, went for another cycle of the protection, and then finally got to nuke the fight down. A very sketchy fight, did not go too well, and I probably would have been better off using Valkyrie there, even with the extra mastery change. Next up we have an America Chavez on the Ebb and Flow Intercept and Mighty Charge nodes, and I'm taking this fight with Pryde. Now, if you look at this fight last season, I usually just went ahead and nuked the fight down with a single special 2 as soon as I got it, but after the previous fight I wasn't feeling that confident, so I'm gonna be playing this fight a bit safer instead. I will be doing most of the fight by simply using my basic attacks, intercepting whenever I can to remove the protection, and then I'm just gonna be face blocking whichever special America Chavez decides to throw. Not having the unblockable here is very annoying, because America Chavez likes to throw her heavy attacks for no reason, so she does get a few of those dimensions going. Instead of allowing me to intercept her here, she just decides to keep holding block and not dashing towards me, which is very annoying. But at the very least, she is using those specials, and that's all I can ask for in an Alliance 4 fight. I really could have finished the fight by throwing my special 3 here now that the protection is down, but again, I wasn't feeling too confident. I didn't want to take any risks, so instead of gambling with the special 3, I instead decided to take her a little bit lower, and now is the time to finish the fight. A very slow fight in comparison to America Chavez fights in the previous season, but still a very safe one, and there wasn't really any risk of losing a death here. Then we have everyone's favorite King Groot on node 50, the safeguard mini-boss node, and I'm taking this fight with Omega Sentinel, starting with the heal block debuff mode active. And like most of you probably know by now, the game plan, it's the exact same as it was the last season and the season before that. I'm gonna be building up my power until I'm at my special 3, then I'm gonna wait for King Groot to get to his regeneration phase, drop a double medium to get a heal block debuff up, drop the special 3 to get those 6 incinerate debuffs, and then I'm gonna be doing the rest of the fight by simply spamming full combos, finishing on a light attack to pause the debuffs. That is all I need to do to take this guy down, and that has worked just fine for the last 2 seasons. However, there are a couple things that are different here. Number 1, the global is different, so instead of conduit, there is the unsteady ground global, meaning that if I have any debuffs on me, I have a chance to glance my attacks, and whenever King Groot uses a special, he inflicts that unsteady debuff, which guarantees my attacks will glance. Another thing that is different is that since the global is different, I won't be using my recoil masteries here, because having that poison debuff on me constantly means that my attacks have a chance to glance always for the whole fight, and that's something I don't want to deal with. But that shouldn't make a difference. This fight should not take too long. It has already been pretty long because I tried to get this special 3 timed perfectly without any debuffs on me and with King Groot at low power in the regen phase, and that was probably a mistake. It's been 2 minutes by now, and it's not looking too great on King Groot's health bar. I took a while to be able to bait that special from him, and I almost dropped the incinerates, and now again he's simply just not using the special, and I end up dropping the incinerates. Now the fight has gone over 2.5 minutes almost, and King Groot is still at 70%. It's not going too well. I am at a very huge risk of timing out here. So I just need to get back up to my special 3 as soon as I possibly can to try to set up the cycle again, and then just hope that King Groot allows me to actually pause the debuffs on time. And even then, without having the recoil masteries, my damage is not as high as it normally is for this fight, so I'm gonna be really fighting against the clock here. These special 3 animations take a lot of time, and building up to that second special 3 also took a lot of time out of the clock for me. So basically I'm taking this fight in under 2 minutes with King Groot at 70% HP, and I need to get it down. The good thing about Omega Sentinel here is that even though you have the unsteady debuff and all of your attacks glance, it does not affect your ability to pause your debuffs. It doesn't matter if your attacks glance or not, ability accuracy reduction does not prevent her from pausing her debuffs with the final light attack. And I'm assuming it also doesn't prevent her from pausing them with a heavy attack either, but that's something I have not tried myself, so I can't confirm. But at this point I can safely say that I saved the fight. I did get it down in time, but still it took over 4 minutes. It got dangerously close to a timeout, and when you compare that to the previous season's fights, where I've taken this fight in around 1.5 minutes, that went horribly, and I probably won't be doing that again. And then we have the final fight of this war, a Joe Fixit on the Polka Dot Power and Stunning Reflection mini-boss node, and I'm taking the fight with Valkyrie. Unfortunately I only had a single Valkyrie fight this time, and technically I could have done more of them, but those fights were between fights that I needed to have my recoil masteries on for, so it just wasn't cost effective to switch masteries so often, which then led to me using Pryde instead. But that is also perfectly fine. There is still 10 wars left in the season, so I've got plenty of time to get my fix of Valkyrie gameplay in, and I really am looking forward to that. But anyways, for this fight, the game plan is to simply just hit into Joe's block for the entire fight, and that is the only way for Valkyrie to gain power here. I don't need to use any specials to take this guy down in time, but getting that special too does help speed things up a bit. Now the most annoying part about this fight is the fact that Fixit is a global defender, so whenever he uses a special, he will inflict that unsteady debuff on me on top of any of his personal debuffs. And since I'm not building up any of my bulwarks, Valkyrie's chance to shrug off non-damaging debuffs is not that great. So whenever those debuffs do stick on me, I simply just have to wait them out before I can really do anything. If my hits glance through the block, it doesn't increase my combo, and I won't gain any power from it either. So while it doesn't really pose a threat to me in the fight, it does make the fight take longer, and it's simply just annoying to deal with. But here Fixit goes down in a single special too, and that is another Deathless War down for the season. As for the results, we did end up losing the war 6-9. We played horribly, even though we had a couple deaths to bugs. I can't really make any excuses for that. We simply just played bad.